Welcome back to Horror Movie Madness Marathon Month. Today I'm going to be talking about Host, which was released earlier this year and is a Shudder original film. It's a paranormal horror film similar to other haunting style movies, but is a bit different. It's about a group of friends that hire a medium to guide them through a séance. The caveat being that this is during the pandemic and so it's hosted over Zoom. It starts off rather typical of any online video chat, with each of the characters joining the call and socializing while they wait for their guide. It's pretty lighthearted and they joke around, even deciding to do shots anytime the medium says astral plane. After the medium joins, they get to it and start the séance, calling out to communicate to any spirits that may be listening. One of the characters doesn't take it seriously and pretends she feels the presence of a spirit in an attempt to scare everyone as a joke. Soon after, the medium gets disconnected and things start to spiral out of control as their actions have summoned an evil entity that begins to terrorize them one by one. Incidents start out small, but the situation escalates quickly as each character experiences paranormal events while the rest of the group watches in horror. I won't reveal what happens, but it goes from zero to hell pretty fast. There's not really any kind of backstory or history of the characters provided, but I don't think it really needs it. The movie is pretty short, being just under 1 hour long, so it makes for a nice quick watch. But it doesn't skimp on the scares. If you're a fan of the Paranormal Activity movies and other films in the same vein, then I think you'll like this one. I was thoroughly entertained by it and it definitely creeped me out. There's not many downtime scenes and the whole thing just flows. I felt the length was pretty appropriate for what it tries to do. Just like an online meeting, it starts, presents what is needed, then ends. I also really enjoyed how it made use of modern technology throughout and reflected the current times. This is a pandemic movie, and they used this to create something original. 2020 is the year where the world works and lives remotely, and I like seeing this reflected in a new movie for once. I'm not sure if it's the first movie to use the concept of video chat software to conduct a séance, but it's the first one I've ever heard of, and I thought it was very unique. They also make great use of the features and tools included in the software. One of the characters uses a pre-recorded video of herself as a background, and at one point she disappears. Initially, the other characters think the recording is her until they see quick flashes of her being attacked as she moves closer to the camera. Another one of the characters keeps using those face filters like they have on Snapchat. And in one scene, she's walking around to investigate some sounds that she heard, and the camera applies the filter to something invisible standing in her living room. She can't see what it is and neither can we, but the camera seems to detect a face and applies a filter. It's pretty unsettling and I thought it was pretty awesome to see them do that. The movie also made me feel like I was participating in the whole event. The entire film is shown through the Zoom software, so it feels like you're in the chat session too, watching as all this unfolds with the fellow attendees. I also found the concept of conducting a séance remotely over the internet fascinating. Could it be possible to do such things? It seems that simply being an active participant in the same séance simultaneously was enough to identify all the characters to the entity. It's interesting because I always wondered about that concept. The idea that a digital medium could be viable for supernatural activity. Have you ever watched a movie where someone performs a séance or reads some kind of incantation to summon a spirit or entity and wondered if it could cause it to happen there with you in real life? Obviously the characters aren't there physically doing it with you, but if the words are spoken correctly, wouldn't it be reasonable to assume that a spirit wouldn't care whether they're being uttered from a human's mouth versus playing from a speaker? That idea always creeped me out. Like I'd be watching a movie where a séance is being conducted and it turns out that the ritual they perform is real. And since it's being replayed right in front of me, could the words and incantations conjure up something in my living room? Somebody should make that into a movie next. Host definitely explored that possibility further, although not quite in the same way. After all, watching the film is still a recording and they were communicating in real time when they did the séance and with a medium, so it's not exactly the same thing. However, this brings me back to my earlier point that the movie makes you feel more like a participant since it's using the Zoom format. I think it helps make it that much scarier. All in all, I thoroughly enjoyed this film and I definitely recommend it if you're into haunting style horror. It was concise, entertaining, unique, and scary. I loved how they integrated modern technology, not only to reflect current times, but also to create some creepy effects without having to use any CGI. They just used the tools and features that were part of the software that people use in their video chats every day. Kind of reminded me of Paranormal Activity 4 where they used the Xbox Kinect. I love that kind of stuff. I think it's innovative and it makes it feel more real. As I mentioned at the beginning of this review, Host is a Shudder original, and that's where you can find it. So check it out, and come back again for more movie reviews throughout Horror Movie Madness Marathon Month. Happy Halloween.